What is up guys, it is Ross and welcome back to another Mario Kart Wii Limitless vehicle showcase and developer commentary. In this episode we will be going over the Wild Wing. So what does the Wild Wing do in Mario Kart Wii Limitless? Well, we discussed that the Flame Flyer is pretty much just a beefed up version of its vanilla self, right? It's been given a speed buff. It has the same stat lines and identity that it has in vanilla, but it's pretty much, what's it called? It's been given a speed buff so that it can compete, which is universal with all carts. And with Mini Beast, it kind of sings the same tune. Like, it's similar to how it is in vanilla, but it's very heavily based on rebalance too. Like, it has its rebalance gimmick of slowing down in a drift. Wild Wing is kind of like the perfect average between both of those vehicles. So it's got like the speed, it's got like the powerful weight and mini turbos as Flame Flyer, but it's also got the raw speed and risk reward potential as Mini Beast. And what that does is it gives it a good sort of role as a medium pick if you don't fancy leaning too hard into either playstyle, because obviously Mini Beast and Flame Flyer have grave weaknesses, right? Mini Beast is probably the closest thing to a glass cannon cart in the game. Its weight is low. Snipe. Its weight is low. Its acceleration is not that great either. And obviously it loses quite a bit of speed in a drift, which means you need to get your mini turbos out and you need to get them out quick. A Flame Flyer, its acceleration is even worse, its handling is pretty bad, and it's got a fat ass hitbox, so it will, like, attacks will be clipping it. Wild Wing doesn't really have these weaknesses to the same comical degree, but all of these weaknesses from both of its parent vehicles, shall we say, they kind of add up, if that makes sense. Its weight is good, but nothing to write home about. Its acceleration is pretty bad, its handling is pretty poor, it's having to slow down in a drift obviously guts it a little bit on wider turns. But in exchange for that, Wild Wing's strengths are quite well rounded. Like, it's got really good speed, it's got really good mini turbo, its drift is pretty phenomenal actually. Might not be showing that off just because the randomizer has given me Luigi, who has the least drift of all the characters, but you know, it still gets the job done, in spite of Luigi's handicap. And yeah, overall, Wild Wing is just remarkably well-rounded. It's probably the front-running vehicle that maybe embodies well-roundedness the most, I would argue. Like, it's got good mini-turbo for tracks that rely on twists and turns, and its base speed is also good for if there's a lot of, say, long straightaways or emphasis on airtime. Double fib, oh no. Get some protection. There we go. Oh, let's maybe not drift the wrong way. And that would have been pretty bad news for me there, because online the Cataquacks don't chase players, and offline they do, so that can cause a lot of... If you only play online and not offline, you could be in for a rude awakening if you forget about the fact that the Cataquacks lock onto you in single player. Well, I guess offline would be a more accurate way of saying that, because I guess in local multiplayer they would also lock onto you, I think. Oh, the blue shell. Oh, the power! Well, that interrupted my SSMT for a little bit. It's not very good at all. Oh, what was that? goofy ass zipper. Another blue shell, Jesus. Oh yeah, I got hit by a Cataquack. Fun fact, in Mario Kart Wii Limitless, I believe getting hit by a Cataquack is one of the few methods of achieving the super high up flippy animation, because blue shells just give you regular knockback in this mod, and bob-ombs just spin you out. The cannonball slash bombs that are present on Shy Guy Beach, I'd imagine they would also inflict that knockback, but off the top of my head, I don't think I can name any tracks that have that object. Oh, the Great Apple War has them. I couldn't think of it, and then I thought of it. So I guess on the Great Apple War, that effect would be triggered, maybe. These little bizarre pieces of trivia that you learn in this mod, it's quite immaculate. That strat isn't the easiest on kart. Bikes can just... Inside drift bikes can just use TF input, and outside drift bikes can just abuse ODM. Kart's got nothing. You just kind of have to hop, maybe. But then you can't charge an SMT, so it's kind of... You're at a loss. Boost panels along turns are obviously something that Wild Wing likes because they halt your deceleration. Well, not halt, I suppose a better way to say it would be they reset your acceleration because you're back up to top speed once the boost elapses, which pretty much undoes the negative aspect of performance transmission. It keeps the positive aspect though, like you still have the increase to base speed to benefit from, so any track with boost panels a lot around the turns, Wild Wing enjoys that a lot. Like, it completely counters one of the things intended to hold it back, which is... ramps do that as well. If you know how to like, capitalize on the positioning of ramps, that's also another way that you can nullify Wild Wing's intended drawback. Which is quite cool because it rewards players for taking unique lines and thinking outside the box. There's a lot of room for unorthodox strategies, I think, to be found. I suppose when we're playing this track, it would be good to bring up a recent change that happened to vehicles with performance transmission. What used to happen is that the performance transmission effect would be much more gradual, right? You would lose less speed. You would lose less speed, but you would lose it pretty much indefinitely. I now have a mushroom in first. I feel very powerful. So what would happen, right? You would lose it, like you'd lose 1 speed, you'd lose 2 speed, you'd lose 3 speed, and that's fine. You'd think that the performance transmission effect was just less severe, right? The thing is, there was no limit to how much speed you could lose. Well, there technically was, but that limit was very low, so you pretty much couldn't use drift to accelerate, which was pretty annoying. And so a recent change made to it was that the mod would introduce a cap to how much speed you would lose. Like, I'll try and show it off here. This track, probably not the best example because it's Sherbet Land, so obviously speed values are a little bit different on the slippery, pippery ice. If I wasn't small, I would have made that for sure. So yeah, you can see I only lose speed down to around 77 km/h. However, to make up for that change, to make up for that quality of life feature, it now loses speed much more drastically. Which is actually a change that people wanted, because the way a lot of people saw it, they thought that the mechanic wasn't quite explored enough. Like, it was present, but it wasn't severe enough to be, like, dynamic or interesting. Like, if there's one thing that Rebalance did pretty well, it was that the mechanic actually was quite interesting because of the severity at which you lost your speed, which made the karts that had it play very differently to regular karts. So the fact that the current version of Limitless, like, emulates that sort of balancing decision, I don't know, it makes for a very dynamic playstyle, and also one that I think is fair with the speed cap, because it means that you can now use acceleration to reach higher speed thresholds in a way that a regular kart would, which I think introduces some much needed versatility for vehicles that have this drawback, which is pretty cool. Anyways, that about wraps it up for that showcase. I'd like to thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to check out the next video when it comes out, and the previous one if you haven't already. And until then, that is Ross, signing out. Goodbye.